20,000 plus kilometers of this route and 111 national waterways, but yet we have not capitalized on it. And there is a whole lot of multimodal integration which is going to benefit not only the logistic industry, but all the stakeholders at large for us to reach our Viksit Bharat targets. You're aware that cargo movement through multimodal is the essence of supply chain resilience. In today's world, when we see all these crises at sea, and he's the former head of Import, Export and Customs South Asia of Siemens. He has more than 42 years of experience in supply chain management. We are indeed very honored to have you here today. A big round of applause for him. Under his leadership, Siemens became the first to achieve AEO Tier 2 target. AEO is the authorized economic operator who get lots of customs benefit. And under his leadership, they achieved a record of 1.02 days of clearance at the customs. A big round of applause for Dr. Sant. As Vice President SCM Indirect Procurements also, he led the group of companies of Siemens and achieved many other things, but his passion has remained, and he's teaching faculty at various universities on this subject, including the IIMs and the other universities, leading universities. And thank you very much for coming here today. The chair for this session, we are indeed very honored to have you also today, Dr. Rajan Sudesh Ratna. RIS and the family is very happy to have his distinguished presence. He's joined RIS very recently in April 2026 and has had a distinguished career. He was also the deputy head of UNSCAP and has held lots of other very interesting, a PhD in economics, an MPhil in environmental science, and so many other things. So I'm indeed, we will be indeed very blessed to have his opinion and have his interventions today. A big round of applause for Dr. Rajan Sudesh Ratna. So without standing between you and the lead speaker and the panel, may I now request Dr. Pramod Sant to take forward the proceedings. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shishi. It is really an honor to be here among the experts, knowledgeable people involved in the research, policy making. If you, my background, he mentioned that some 42 years experience, but I don't count that years as experience because you are still learning, and logistics or a supply chain or import export, it is that we are able to say that we are still learning continuously. Every day is a new learning. We have seen some situation recently which was never seen in 41 years in my career. We have never seen that the ships are not able to come out of the Strait of Hormuz. So every day you learn, and what experience what you have is earlier is very becoming difficult. So it's better we learn on the regular basis. Thank you, Dr. Rajan, for having this chair and guiding all these people. So it's very interesting subject of multimodal. So I spent most of my career in the multinational global companies handling logistics and supply chain. And with that experience, which we found that, yes, when I retired from Siemens, I found that there are 2-3 things which are very critical. One, people say the logistics. If you look at logistics, is one of the most complex subject. You have various modes on one side. You have by ocean, you have by the coastal, you have the inland, you have road, you have air. These are modes. Then in each modes you have some specialities. Then you are having infrastructure, logistic infrastructure providers. Then you are having the service provider. And this becomes a very complex matrix. And if I am handling some cargo, I will not know really something is there. So my friend was handling liquid bulk, and we never looked into him. Always you treat as, okay, you are handling one commodity and it's fine. But when now one of the LNG ship came and he unloaded that, it became really famous that he gave interview that how it was critical, which he was doing for last 25, 30 years. So these areas are very, really vast. And you add into that the services, warehouses, e-commerce getting added. So I found that its logistic is like jigsaw puzzle. But when we talk about multimodal, multimodal is one more jigsaw puzzle within that puzzle, which is a really complex. So I think with that, what we will try to do is that we have 40 minutes. So it is the shortest period where we will talk about multimodal. When we are trying to presently design some courses with one of the university where people will opt for a postgraduate course in multimodal. Of course, first year will be common, but second year will be multimodal. So we are expecting that, yes, this subject require really a very long, deep study. So when you look at what roadmap I have today is what is India's logistic problems, why multimodal is to be seen, some challenges. I think from there really it starts because initial information is all available with everybody. Then multimodal act, government initiatives, global south, I will touch upon some subjects on that, and what should be the way forward. So when you look at the logistics, we find that this logistic pyramid in India is inverted. What are the material which are bulk material which we are supposed to carry really by either coastal or inland or by rail, we are carrying with a road. And everybody is depending on the road to such an extent that people are spending not only more money, but it is affecting also environment. So road 60% plus, it is increasing the logistic cost. And if you look at this globally, it's a very different picture. And when these figures will definitely tell that, yes, we are having still, in spite of all the efforts are being made, railway is still carrying the only limited part, and we still carry 60% on by road. So I look at Europe or Germany particularly, we found that the location of each factory and the modes they are utilizing is so perfectly aligned. So for example, we were having the transformer factory, which we want to build in India, replicating one factory of transformer in Germany, Nuremberg. And transformer is weighing, lowest weight was 90 tons, but highest was 450 tons. So this factory is located near the canal in Nuremberg. So the transformer is able to take that 300 ton or 400 ton from factory directly. You are able to put the bar on barge, and from barge it goes across the Europe or it goes to the Rotterdam, and that is what it was planned. So when we talk about any mode, today the problem is that from India, wherever we are carrying the material with a road. And if you compare what are the advantages, disadvantages of different modes, you will find that the speed, no doubt, air we will at the moment remove, but the road, you are still able to get material on time because of various things, in spite of, even if you are having the dedicated freight corridors or you are able to take railway, this thing. And everywhere we tried, for example, we have factories in Goa. Goa is a port, but I am never able to take any containers directly there because it adds 4 to 5 days more by feeder vessel. Even if we and then second part is that whosoever tried that feeder vessel, they started for some days, then they found it is not economical, because when you take it from JNPT or somewhere else, 120 or 150 containers, return load from Goa is only 20 or 15 to 20 containers. So it makes no economic sense. So we are not able to use. So what happens? I'm quite sure if I send material or container from Goa to Mumbai, it will come into the 1.5 day maximum or 1 day if I keep the 2 drivers. So it is so reliable. Same is that if I wanted some material to be air freighted, if there is a problem at Hyderabad or there is less load, I am able to truck it down to Mumbai and I am able to air freight it from Mumbai. Again, we are depending on the road. The value addition, you look at any material, kind of, whether it is precious cargo, whether it is high value items, whether it is temperature controlled, the road gets preference because you are able to control that while loading and unloading. So road gets the prominence. And if you look at what item, which mode you should use, their preferred mode. Everybody knows e-commerce. Yes, e-commerce is able to give the delivery. There, barring some part which moves by air, everything we depend on the road and then last mile also. But for bigger commodities also, we have seen that even if it is a 12 ton, 15 tons machines which are there, we are taking it by road. So if you look at all the places, somewhere it is possible based on your commodity or based on that you can use the road, from road you can move to rail. But definitely there are challenges. So one is what are you into, which manufacturing, which type of your end customer, how they want material. Again, the road gets the preference. And when you look at road, so if road is used for 60% or more, is a road really situation good of a road industry? Which is not, because you have a, it is again unorganized. The owners who are having 1 to 5 trucks, they are highest. And the situation is that all, even though bigger companies are trying to have more and more vehicle, but still this is at the still beginning. So entire road market is depending on the smaller players, and smaller players who could be owner driver also, or owners having their drivers. So now what is effect of is that last 2 months, if you look at JNPT, there is a crisis, close to 30,000 TU container backlog. Why? Because number one, first they say that the drivers are shortage. Then they say drivers have gone to Bengal for the voting. Then they say that the drivers are having problem that the gases are not available. They used to cook on their own, and which is not available. So the drivers have gone home, and then there is a shortage. So it creates, road transport is a challenge. If you look at this report from the All India Transport Welfare Association, whosoever is in driver category, they are not happy. They want to leave this job. They don't want their children to come in this job. So again, we definitely will continue to have this driver shortage, and their education. The last one which needs to be mentioned, whenever any factory or any warehouse, if the truck goes there, even right from that security, everybody will treat that driver as the lowest person who is come to them. So the driver get the worst treatment when they approach for any of factory. So what has happened last month, there was a study done by North. Roads are becoming better. There are no tolls. I mean, there are no octroi. So the speed should increase. They found on highways your speed is increased, but overall time is remaining same. Why? Because vehicles are going and their loading, unloading, or availability of material is given, that is taking the same time. So we have continued with the challenges. So what is the answer? We see always that everybody says that yes, multimodal is the answer. Cost reduction. Then second is carbon reduction, and third is a congestion relief. Because we are depending on the road very well. If I use the multimodal instead of road, rail is used, we will save some money, no doubt. Coastal shipping will be further cheap, or the inland waterways will be further cheap. So one is the cost, which can be definitely reduced. Second is the carbon footprints. When you will, if you look at next slide, will give that details. You will have the definitely sustainable logistics or more green logistics. And third is the congestion because of roads. At any point of time, a single railway can have 60 to 80 trucks, which will reduce the congestion on the road. Or if we use the roads, we will reduce the congestion, and it will become a better. So there are three these main advantages. We will see more. The rates, definitely these figures will vary from case to case, but at any point of time, your rail is far cheaper. Your coastal shipping is further cheaper, and the inland waterways is further cheaper. And if you look at their carbon emission, these are the figures which are all from research paper. But yes, rail will have really 1/8 of the carbon emission, which will definitely be helping us to make it green logistics. So we have all the advantages. Now comes about multimodal, really multimodal. So these advantages are there, and one of the most important advantage, which as a user we found, that if I'm normally using, then I will have one freight forwarder. Freight forwarder will have appoint a road transporter. If there is a rail, he will connect with that, and you will be coordinating with 10 people. With each of this person, you will have a separate contract. If there is damage, you will run after every people, and you will have to work. But when it is MTO, you are having one responsible person who is handling everything. So from a user point of time, I think the multimodal also have this additional advantage that I don't have to coordinate with many people. I will talk to only MTO provider. Yeah, Amtoy, you are here, so you know how customers really trouble you on this topic and the risk which is carried by them. So the issue becomes that anywhere the damage happens, whether it is a road, rail, transporter, port, loading, unloading, the uh, the MTO operator will have this challenge. So having all these advantages, why the things are still not happening, that is the most important point which we need to study. So another thing is that people have not understood really MTO, and this is a little bit strong statement. If you go to one of the multinational forwarder site, they say we do the multimodal transport. We have a developed system. Cargo is taken from Mumbai, JNPT. You want to send it to Europe, I will take you up to the Jebel Ali by the sea, and from there I will take it by air. And you will save so much, so much, so much. And they publish and they have got good business. But technically, it is not a multimodal transport. They issue a airway bill for this business, and which is not a multimodal transport. People save that in money in that, but the knowledge about multimodal is really less with people. And when you go into the intricacies of the laws, the Multimodal Act, and the further the loss points, how to register everything, I think there are more challenges. So we'll come to that. When we talk about the challenges in multimodal, this is one of the points which we have, and this is a very nice picture which I have got, and it says the outer ring has got advantages, even though all the advantages are not mentioned, but they are mostly all the important advantages. Then what are the challenges at each level, and so all the three circles gives you the challenges which are faced, and they are consolidated challenges, and we are facing out of that some of them or part of that already. So we'll see that, but this gives you the idea that in spite, so on one hand you are having advantages, you are having cost saving, you are having time saving, you are saving making the green transport, but still we are not able to increase the multimodal. What are the challenges? So again, this is a vanilla list. All may not be applicable in all cases, or all may not be applicable in India also, but it is worth seeing. So if you look at the terminal related barriers, so it's always happening that whenever there are modes are changing, So you are getting material from sea and you are putting it on truck or you are putting it on the rail. You have the mode change, and that mode change becomes the most difficult thing to manage in all the times. So the service issues. So you will find that when you go to JNPT, the containers are unloaded from vessel, then they are either moved to one place, storage place. From there again they are moved by the movement to the rail place where there is a rail terminal. And when the rail comes from Concord, you load again on that. And then there is a gap, time gap. And again, this is not available on any website or anything. If you want to see the rail, you will have to go to the Concord or you will have to go to the private thing which is handling that. The what is happening within the terminal, you have no visibility technically. So again, you have the challenge. So there is a unreliability becomes that whether the next train which is coming, is my container going to get loaded there, and whether it will reach the Tughlakabad or it will reach Dadri, I don't know till it gets loaded. So you have problem. The terminal capacity is a problem. As I mentioned, that the trains, even though it is improved to great extent that there is a schedule, trains comes, it will become more reliable, but still there is always a backlog of getting shifting containers from the port to the ICDs across the place, across the India. And then when there is any mode change, there is always a risk of the damage, pilferage, theft. It happens. Whatever we do that, because if you look at the containers getting at least moved from 1, 2, 3 times, it get unloaded, it goes into the rail wagon. So there is a possibility that it gets damaged into that. Again, many terminals are private. They wanted to make money. So terminal charges are higher and the importer exporter have to pay for that. So these are terminal related changes. Network related changes, the really multimodal terminals, we are promoting that, yes, in policies, but multimodal places, you will find whatever was a place available, they are made as a terminals to change. So you will find that if you are putting the container on the trailer, the 40-foot trailer cannot take easily the turn. There is no place for it to reverse also. It will have to juggle for at least some time to take it back. So the multimodal really the multimodal terminals need to get properly developed, where your mode change you become reliable, mode change become the effectively, and you are able to reduce the any loss damage and bring that transparency into that. uh, I will not speak much about the inland waterways to that extent, because I still, even though we have some good scheme which are coming there, we think, but the fact is that the progress in inland waterways is very, very limited. And in many places, you will always find somebody has prepared 5 years back one presentation on inland waterways. He can still show that this year and maybe another 2 years also. So this is a fact. Then comes the management related. Now I have sat with, so last year I developed a course with IIM Mumbai on multimodal transport. That was for a company of master mariners in India. They developed a 2-year postgraduate program in which one multimodal subject was kept. So I sat with many multimodal transporter and I asked them question, is your customer, which is an importer or exporter, he said, I want to bring the material by multimodal or not. He said, they don't ask anything to me. There is a lack of awareness with importer exporter, or insisting that no, I want multimodal to be used. It is left to the forwarder. He finds it easy, he is going to make more money, he is able to show some savings, or he is able to show some cost reduction, he will use multimodal. Otherwise, the very few importer exporter will insist that I want to go multimodal. And if they have been told, no, multimodal is not good in this area or it cannot happen, they have no mechanism to really check and verify and say, no, here you are wrong, here you are right. They have no basis for that. So this management really related barriers which are there, importer exporters are not aware. They have no cost data. Suppose I have a cost data of directly bringing it and by road, and I wanted to shift to multimodal, then you need to look at post cost comparison. Then one-to-one cost comparison with each element of this cost is very, very difficult for the importer exporter. And then we sat with all the multimodal operators, how you are working out the cost. Again, this is very mechanical and experience based work. He will look at the railway site, he will look at Concor site, he will get railways, Concor rates, he will see which could be available. He will call for some road transporter, get their rates, put it. He will go to shipping company, their sites, he will look at schedule and he will get the rates, and then he will combine that. Then he will add on to that the risk factors. Kuch gadbad ho jayega to I have to add something. Then he will add on this thing and he will make with one cost. And it is all based on experience. Very difficult for a importer exporter or many times to the forwarder also to work out the exact cost of that. So what it result, it increases the cushion in order to be safe for that. So this is what barrier again happens, that the lack of business model. Suppose if I am today getting the material by sea and road, so as I mentioned, we have factory in Goa, I get it in JNPT, I truck it down after clearance to Goa, I know 1.5 days is going to take. Now this model is proven. My factory knows that material JNPT may it is received, you clear it in the, it is a sea container, full container, I take DPD, so it comes in 2 days out, and then 1.5 day, 3.5 days is going. So everything planning is based on that. Now if I try to change the model, then it becomes very difficult. And who will be answerable? That the operation manager or supply chain manager. So he don't take the risk. Multimodal name, yes, I know. He will say, I done study, but I will still follow road and this thing. This is what is happening. So that is a management related barrier which we must understand. So what is the answer on that? We will come when we are at the end of presentation. Regulation, inadequate pricing policy, the rail liberalization. Those who are expert in rail, they will know that whether it is a Concor or whether it is a private rail operators, their hands are still tied and they are not able to freely work on the rail. Road are becoming better and better. So roads are becoming better. The time for is also definitely reducing. Vehicles are increasing. So of course, the capacity in India, it is not, we are not using really high-end, high-capacity wheat trucks, but wherever they have allowed the high-capacity trucks, again the road transport is increasing. This is what is happening globally. Lack of awareness, as I mentioned, delivery characteristic, the freight characteristic. So now again, if I want to bring the rail in picture of, then my packing, everything I need to study, whether my product, how I will pack it, how it should carry, when the mode change is there, if it is not in container, if it is LCL, can I do it? It's becoming difficult. So again, the mode, in addition to business, how my products are packed, how we have to see. Then very important is the just in time. If you look at last so many years, all organizations are working on just in time. Now, of course, with war, they become just in case. Lagega material, so they are bringing it, but that is only temporary. But just in time concept has brought pressure, because in multimodal, if you don't get a connectivity to train, if it gets delayed by 2 to 3 days from JNPT to Dadari or to Tughlakabad, then people will say, forget it, I don't want your railway saving, use the truck and bring that. So this is what is happening. Last is the interportability. I think this is the most important thing. We all know that everybody is having different IT system. We will at the moment forget that luckily for trains or dedicated freight corridors, we will have similarity everywhere. But many places, the rail sizes are different, railway systems are different, and there are challenges which are there. The custom procedure. So when you talk of multimodal international, custom procedure, if they are not aligned, we have challenges, and different information is different required by different people. So this interportability about system we will see into the detail. So now if you look at another challenge which we want to go a little more detail is that each ministry is separate. We don't have like Germany, the logistic ministry, even though Ministry of Commerce has got the logistic as a wing and they are doing reasonably good jobs. They are trying to do their best. But fact is that even in PM Gati Shakti is there, every ministry has uploaded their reports, projects on that. But the decisions and really together planning is not definitely happening to that extent, which is the challenge. And there will be some good cases, there will be some cases where we know that we have still really challenges. Then for electronic portal ULIP, I mean, when ULIP came couple of years back, I have a slide where I have in slide, first slide, we mentioned UPI. UPI everybody is using and people are so happy. It became worldwide really attraction that you are able to send 10 rupees from mobile to anybody. I was being a logistician, I was feeling that ULIP will become UPI for logistics. But unfortunately, it is still challenges and we will see that into the thing. Now, why systems are different? If you are into any importer, exporter, what systems you will use? You will have your own SAP or ERP system. You will have some EDI connections with some this thing. You will have some web-based or Excel-based tools which you will use for logistics, import, exports, or international trade. That is within company. When you go to government, you have major customs. They will use IceGate. DGFT will have their own portal. DGFT sends their data of licenses, etc. to IceGate. But people who use that, they know that DGFT is telling license is transmitted, custom is telling license is not received. This is what is definitely is also happening in some cases. Then you have GST, again separate portal. Then RBI is having the EDPMS, IDPMS to monitor inflow of the foreign exchange and outflow, which is there, which is again a different system. IceGate gives inputs to the EDPMS, IDPMS, but again limited extent, but all are having different system. When you talk to custom broker, they have a different system. Logistics, Hans, or the Kale Logistics, they have systems are used by custom broker. Each forwarder, whether it is DHL, Kuninagal, they have their own trace and track system. And then airport handling. At each port, again, you have different port. At different port, we have different system. In JNPT, you have ODEX. If you take Mumbai airport, it was having GMAX earlier. Now they call it Amex after Adani has taken. So again, that system is different. And e-way bills are on again different systems. So there are already so many systems which are there. Now what happened when ULIP came? You must have seen this presentation, which is ULIP presentation, that you are able to track the containers when it passes through, it gets unloaded, when it comes out of the customs or terminal, the RFIDs scan, then you come to know when it goes to CFS, again you come to know the next stage, then it crosses the toll naka, you are able to look into the places. And some of the people have really made good tools getting from ULIP. But the fact is that is ULIP giving me or any details which are related with transaction? Because ministries are not sharing that. Ministry of Commerce gives only IC code and few detail. IceGate gives the only bill of entry or shipping bill number and date. But what are items in that? ULIP do not have that. So what is happening? ULIP is giving me data which anyhow I will be able to get. If my container is coming out of the Mumbai port or JNPT, I don't need to see when it crosses the toll naka, because I am able to track that much easier way. And I don't know what is in that container. If I am having the shipment, having 20 containers, then I don't know the first container is coming to me on day 1, 20th container will come in to me on 3rd day. What is in each container? The ULIP is not giving me. So ULIP will have to progress definitely much more. And it will definitely, we still hopeful that ministries will share data. But yes, ULIP has helped. The vehicles you are able to trace. I don't have to go to some vehicle people and ask what is their PUC, what is their license, what is their insurance. I am able to, there are a lot many good tools are developed with ULIP, which are really helpful. But as the international trade or multimodal, now air will also become is coming on ULIP. You will have to find out how you will get LCL onto. But fact is, we have the challenge, and this is the interportability issues which will face. We don't know when land custom ports will come also on ULIP, etc. When we will have to see, it's progressing. People are definitely making efforts to get this tool really making better. Then comes another challenge is multimodal transport, Good Act 1993. And my colleague now, employee, they will know how many times they have made representation to improve that. And I sat with their Arun to find out what representations are being done. Yeah. So another thing, people are not aware that multimodal transport Good Act only covers export from India. It is not covering imports. That is also surprising. Then it is not covering domestic at all. So finally, what is expected is that even though, which is now really so many years have passed, a lot of representation has been done, but there is a need to upgrade this law to really look for today's realities. Yeah. But the fact is, there are 2,700 registered MTOs roughly, which are there. But I have no visibility that how much business total has been done by this MTO to that extent on any director of DG shipping portal or something. If I wanted to know if we are having 100 volume, then whether it is 10, 5 or 20 or 30, we don't know. So which is also a challenge. Yeah. So definitely what needs to be done in MTO, that really the limits which are set in 93, they may not be valid if in case of loss, which we need to review that. There is hope that the proposed National Logistic Efficiency and Advancement, Predictability and Safety Act, which will encompass everything, and it will help multimodal to bring it to today's reality. And as we see that the user is not knowing multimodal, so there is no chance that if something goes wrong, where he will go again to complain is also an issue. So these are few challenges. Now, having talked about challenges, what is happening good? So this is one slide which gives really lot of initiatives which government has done. And if you look at, they are phenomenal. Intention is really good. If you look at ease of doing business, IceGate is improving. We are expecting 2.0 in IceGate, DDP, direct port delivery, DPU, AEO, now mover scheme, MEI, all lot of efforts have been taken. GST, 7-8 years, now it is also helped to great extent. But in shipping, you have Bharatmala, Sagarmala, National Logistics Policy, NLP, which is there. And for skill development, Logistics Skill Council, PMKV has got a subjects or the skill which is there. ULIP has come. So this comprehensive picture looks very encouraging that our multimodal or our logistic costs will go down and we will have better logistics. So good initiatives. They are at different stages. There are a lot many people who have done really. The NLP has become now in this September, it will become 3 years, I think, or more. But what is really achieved by that, people do study definitely. But if you look at what is happening good, also we need to record ease of doing business. In 2014, we were 142, we are 63 in 20. Thereafter, World Bank has not done ease of doing business because they are also revamping that. Logistics LPI has come from 54 to 38, good improvements. Global Innovation Index, we have improved. And why it is important? Because if you look at the startups and innovation in logistics which are happening, they are very high numbers, and which is a trend with across India for many things. But that Global Innovative Index also I wanted to include related with logistics. Then Container Port Performance Index, these details are of last year on, I think, 10th June, new report has come, but not all the details. So JNPA has come to 22nd number, Paradeep and other people, ports have also done some progress into that. But yes, container port performance index, we are doing good. This thing, average time for the export, average time for imports, the time release study, which is being taken every year for the last couple of years, showed a drastic reduction in the clearance time, which is helping. January 26, what the TRS is done, that result has not come. So I'm worried whether there is increase in time, and that's why they are not publishing, or what is the reason. Digital trade facilitation index, which is there. So paperless. So if you look at customs, the paperless initiative are really unique, and World Custom Organization has appreciated that. That number of papers which are saved in India are really into billions and billions of papers are saved. So these are something good. So government initiative, they takes with their own speed, but it reflects into the definitely improvements which is there, which are important. So two important thing, others everybody know, Sagarmala, everybody is aware of national logistic policy, but I found this report, Leeds report this year it is shown 24th, but 25th also has come. They are progressing very much to the states where we need to have, where we are having waterways, we don't have business, we have weak logistics, which needs to be improved. So, and this last year sustainability and equality into logistic is also added into that. So these are the some performances in this is worth seeing reports, so that we know that states which are ahead, Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, Maharashtra, they are keep on higher. Some states have never made progress. Bengal was one of them. Now maybe they will make a lot of progress. That's what we will see. But efforts is on that definitely, because again, if we do not, states do not develop, then how we will have multimodal? That's another challenge. So this report is very important. LEAP, logistic efficiency enhancement, is also important, because the multimodal logistic parks are there, and which is very key. So if you look at the mode change, if it is not happening smoothly, if there is a time delay, we have challenge. So multimodal logistic park is a solution where so when there is a, I saw in we have at any place where you change the container from rail to road, truck, or truck to the rail, we have still vertical lifting. But abroad, you had many places, they have the horizontal loading of containers. You can load the train of 80 containers in less than 1 hour, and it can move. Of course, there is a capital investment, there is a study, but fact is that, so there is one hope that which, if you look at our telecom revolution, we were waiting for phone for 5 years, then directly we have the highest number of mobiles, lowest cost, etc. We did that. Similar thing, you are able to see something in warehousing also. Now, earlier we were having godowns, now they are warehouses. So the modern warehouses are coming, they are really user friendly. They are with a solar power, so they are with proper energy saving, they are sustainable, they are able to put robotics, they are able to put automation. So probably in multimodal logistic park, I am also hopeful that when we build a new multimodal logistic park, they will be world class, and they will be with proper technology and this thing. So this leap also thing is very good initiative. Now come from the subject of global south. So why global south we also need to see is because the countries are, we call it developing countries, but definitely similar problems we have. Everybody has got a resource crunch, financial, people, this thing. And but what, when I look at this model of various countries, one thing is that some of the examples may not exactly multimodal, but at least they show that people are able to make best use of the natural. So Dr. Shishir mentioned that we are having so much coastline, we are having so much river, we are having so much rail, road, which is one of the top. Then we are having everything, which is great, then why we will not be able to replicate some of the best things? So this example of Vietnam is that they have really made the inland waterways as a transportation, and it happened along with when they were started becoming the industrial, they become China plus one. They have really done excellent job, more better than India. So whenever their factories were coming, they have ensured that it is little closer, or they are able to use the inland waterways. So this is one of the really good example, and which is helping to reduce the logistic cost, use the natural sources, and sustainable. So it's a good example. Then in Indonesia, again, we know it's a complex, these are the islands, how to move cargo from there. They have made this container, which we could not. We tried with, I mean, I keep on giving some examples of Goa. So when Siemens was having Goa 3 factories, when the second factory was built, the question from Germany was that Goa is a port. Why you are not taking shipment directly to Goa? And I said, it's not possible. It will add the time. It will also we become a little more unpredictable. Why? Because the container from JNPT, there is no feeder which goes to the Goa. So either there is a feeder which will be, I will have to see whether they are interested. And we tried everybody, and the result was same thing, that the people who will take container once, so the Shreyas shipping, which is now transferred, they did 2 rounds and then they stopped. Even though they are the one of the best in India to have the coastal and feeder services, and they are trying to do their best. But here they have made, and one thing very important which comes into this is that even if there is a less return load, that ship will come with whatever load available in Indonesia, which is a very good thing, which will be subsidized or what, probably. But this is a very interesting model which is there. And now coming to the uh, example of Malaysia, there is something called My Freight platform, which is a very interesting to see. When we always talk about the port community system or integrated system, we see that ULIP, My Freight platform have got a multimodal this thing. We are able to get the rates, you are able to place order, you are able to take the BL, you are able to book the slots, you have the details of when the train is coming, when the ships are getting loaded. So this is one of the good single window which is there. Only we have to see it could be okay for Malaysian load, or it can be done. But what you expect from ULIP is something like My Freight. If I want to do, I go to only one tool. I am able to see when the ship is coming to JNPA, when I am able to connect with the train, when I am able to take it to north, or is it easier for me to take it to Mundra, or whether I will do. All that comes from one portal. Then we have a better this thing. So this is one of the examples which is good. Philippines Roro, if you look at, lot much money can be definitely saved when you are able to do the trek the trucks by Roro on the coastal thing. But we are still a little away for that, and at some route it can be done definitely, or we need to look into that. So this is one of the example which is there. Then one another example is the Ethiopia, where the rail route is connected. Again, Ethiopia has to go back to the Djibouti for their import and export. So they have made this rail, and they have built ICDs across that rail. Of course, they don't have that industry, they don't have that, but at least ICD and rail, they are able to take the cargo not by road to the Djibouti and get import and export for that. So which is also interesting example. So I think if we look at, there will be hundreds of example. Also in India we have success stories. Now in my problem statement there was one, that the electrification of rail is problem in many countries, but India do not have, because our dedicated freight corridors are all rail, all electric. That is number one. Secondly, we are directly going on two stack. Instead of one containers, you will have two containers. So you will carry the double the load than the other countries. So we have something which is good happening, and but awareness about multimodal still. So if you look at what happens, a couple of days back, if you would have seen Mumbai Pune Expressway, there was one tanker which was collapsing, and you have people waiting for 8, 10 hours to 24 hours. So something happens at port, we know, and that time there is problem. So there is another challenge which face. If your flight get late, then people shout, and that was shown on TV immediately. But if your cargo gets stuck anywhere, then nobody talks. At JNPT, when there are 30,000 containers which are getting delayed, there were hardly any news. So cargo don't speak, cargo owners also don't speak to that extent. So that becomes a challenge. So if there is any issue with natural this thing, people accept it, that there was a flooding, there was a heavy rain, there was a landslide, there was a cyclone, I could not clear, but we are not having anything in mind what should be the alternative. So this is there. We need to build definitely better this thing. So probably it will happen that when Mumbai airport is there, you have Navi Mumbai airport, JNPT, you are going to have Vadhavan. So which is something which is good, but it will happen. So again, when you talk about the various corridors, and the corridor become really thing, unless you also have the manufacturing industry unit, so DMIC and dedicated Western dedicated, that is a good example where you will have industry also and we will have the corridor also. But the fact is, production, ICD, rail, waterways, port, gateway, and export market, this needs to be together. Otherwise, you have waterways, you can bring in material, but outgoing material is not there. So again, each waterway, in spite of we having this cost sharing, there is a nice scheme which was there that the 1/3 cost will be shared on waterways of and national waterways 1, 2, and this thing. But fact is, unless the export, so what happens is that you have exports or manufacturing somewhere or agriculture somewhere, unless you combine that for the load which is coming and going, you may have the challenge. So I come to my last slide. Uh, there are, I have put these problems into one way is government reforms, technology, connectivity, awareness, and training. But same metrics, you can also reverse it, that what freight forwarder should do, what importer exporter should do, what service provider should do. Then it makes sense. But fact is, first is Multimodal Act. What we need to do that. Why we cannot have a national multimodal authority? So national logistic policy is talking that we want to increase multimodal share, we want to reduce our cost, then we can have national multimodal authority, single coordinating authority. At least it will bring focus on that. Then we need somewhere, can we make something mandatory? Some suggestions or something will look very harsh, but people will also for longer distance also use the road. There is no point into that. Unless they use it, we will not come to know again more deficiencies. They will not sing, and we will not build up. So this is a problem. MTO performance standard and annual rating system. So if you look at today, if something goes wrong in MTO, suppose my freight forwarder has used MTO, he has given me one bill of lading covering everything. Something goes wrong, where I will go to resolve that is still little bit challenging today. Yeah, ULIP we talked about. We need to a little bit more do freight optimization modes across mode. So people are using that, and if you look at where learning comes from, if you look at earlier, most of the new things have come from automobile. Yeah, come from automobile. Automobile, we have taken the quality systems, everything. So now we are taking many things from e-commerce. So probably some best practices should come from e-commerce. IoT tracking, we are able to do. We are able to do much more e-documentation. So Fiata has got a bill of lading, but penetration is still a little less. So we need to see that what happened to the MSME, which is big companies, whether it is Siemens or BSF, L&T, they have their own ways. But if you are MSME, you have challenge. If you are away from Mumbai or main centers, you have much more challenges. Uh, then we need to combine the district as export hub policy, which has come in foreign trade policy. So we have foreign trade policy which says that the district, each district is exporting something. Can we combine that? So we need to see that agri logistic corridors, which could be very focused, which can be done. Women's in logistics, I think we need to really see increase that share, which is there. Multimodal literacy campaign. I think this is the most important. When I look at the multimodal availability of this subject, if you look at, there are no books on multimodals. Really speaking, if you want to go to purchase multimodal book, you will get to a bus system and the tram system in city, how to implement that, but not the multimodal for logistics. So that needs to be improved. We need some courses, short courses till the graduation, I mean the post graduation. Freight choice awareness, annual multimodal index. Each company is doing, spending 100 rupees. How out of that, how much will come from, how much you are using multimodal? If you put that, DFC ULIP adoption program, multimodal transport chairs. So I am happy when Dr. Shishir mentioned that we should have multimodal as a subject. I was happy that it will awareness, and I'm quite sure. So initially I have some discussion here, and more people will have research, more and more people will be able to influence the stakeholders. I think we will have the good time. So if we have some questions, we can take. I don't guarantee whether I will be able to answer, but
We'll take
we
questions
will.
after the chair remarks. Thank you, Dr. Sant, for an enlightening, and you are a very passionate industry professional. And with your expertise in the education field also, you took no chances and you covered everything possible. So we have a global expert who's also spent time at UNSCAP. What you mentioned about the digital trade facilitation index, and India has been doing very well with respect to paperless trade and digitalization. So may we request you to have your comments as to how India could lead Global South, because you lead the Global South Center of Excellence for South-South Cooperation also. So there are a lot of activities which we can lead there and possibly enlighten the audience.
Thank you, Dr. Kshatriya, for this. And I must compliment Dr. Sant for multifaceted, multi-challenging presentation on multimodal transport system. It's a very complex subject indeed. It's not an easy work. And doing this presentation, bringing all these different dynamics in one presentation is not an easy thing. As you have already pointed out, there are many barriers, and especially in India, and not only India, but there are many other countries who face the same challenges or the barriers, whether this relates to infrastructure, handling facilities, network issues, management issues, or the policy imperatives. Actually, one of the things which you have also highlighted, and which many of the private sector operators, and especially when it comes for the small and medium entrepreneurs, is the cost associated with it. So when you talk about a multimodal transport system, for every stage of changing of the mode, you have to unload and then reload, and then you have highlighted about the time, but it involves cost. It also, depending on the nature of the item which is being shipped or transported, the wastage, the handling wastages, etc., increases. And so they also say that this is also one of the challenges, and perhaps mechanization at those places would create a more enabling or efficient way out. At the same time, on the IT side, definitely India has done a wonderful work on integrating uh, kind of all the systems on the desktop. So things can, you don't need to visit to these offices with voluminous document, but you can just upload the information. But integrating from one system to another system, DGFT to iSkate to banking, banking to others, it's still a lot of work need to be done. In my earlier stage, and interestingly, when you are talking about, that the multimodal rule is not answering, or there is no rule for the domestic, uh, regulation. We found very interesting case when we were working, when I was working in UNSCAP. We have been working on, BVIN connectivity, so Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, and Nepal, and we were focusing on Northeast. And Northeast has actually a lot of potential if you look at Nepal and Bhutan for multimodal transport system. Because of the terrain, and also because in certain places, taking goods from one place to another place by railway is much more economical and better. Uh, so we found that some of the shipments started from Haldia, and they take boat through barges and they enter into Bangladesh, and they go to a point in Bangladesh which is Ashuganj, and then and it's not for Bangladesh, it's for Tripura actually. But they don't want to take all the route of going through the northeast by crossing over 1500 kilometers. This becomes a much more easier and a simpler route for them. And they take it through that, and from Asuganj, the truckloads go to Tripura, and then it meets those demands. So it was a very fascinating and interesting finding that we noted at that moment of time there. And there is still a lot of potential, and especially in BIMSTEC, when I was in the government of India, we were working on this. They were talking about a multimodal transport system, right? They were talking about even inland water system by bringing from Myanmar. Still, it happens. The big, logs of woods would be put in the river, and then it comes to the Indian side or goes to Bangladesh, and then they collect it. So this is also kind of one informal multimodal system where you don't require any documentation. So no documentation, no cost, and the things go, and happening for ages. And I was really surprised and mesmerized that how people at this side who are receiving, or either on India or on the Bangladesh, would understand that this wooden log is for me. But that management system has been par excellence. I haven't come across any dispute of Bangladeshi charging Indian that they have taken their wood, or India saying that, okay, Bangladeshis have done that. Yeah, notwithstanding that, in the present circumstances and looking at the global environment, we have no option but to look for some multimodal transport system uh, for efficiency, for having alternative routes. We know what is happening in the couple of months because of the geopolitical conflict and the Strait of Hormuz, which has led to the whole supply chain getting disrupted. Oil prices, we have seen how it has increased, freight cost, how it has increased. And if we are in a position to have this kind of multimodal system, it may be cost effective, it can bring more predictability in the transport system, but that requires a cross-border framework to be decided by many other countries, which is not an easy work. UNSCAP also has a paperless framework agreement for cross-border trade. It's a framework, but we know how difficult it is for the countries to sit on a table and negotiate that framework and the nitty-gritties. So within one country, as Dr. Sant has highlighted the challenges, you can imagine what kind of challenges would be there if it's more than 2 countries or more than 5 countries or more than 10 countries. Notwithstanding that, given the level of certain uh, uh, advancement which have been made in India, and especially PM Gati Shakti scheme, as and when it gets totally implemented, goes into the public system or a space, that would really see a big sea change in the entire system as to how things could work and what you need to see. Southeast Asia is actually, I will be little shy in saying is the best example of multimodal transport system, because they have an excellent Asian highway which they have built up. Their railway network is not as good as efficient as India. So some riverine and road system happens, but from I see, if we need to look into the Indian experience, I would like to take it to Africa, because there are a lot of similarities between the geographical boundary connectivity BBIN with some of the countries which have in Africa have a neighboring system. They have riverine system. Their railway network is not as good. Road is the alternate, but that could be one. So some of these experiences, I think, if we can take it, there is a lot to be done with Africa. And this is a good time because we have India-Africa Forum Summit, which is happening this year, though delayed. And I compliment CIMEC, my colleague, Dr. Shrotriya, for bringing this multimodal dynamics for this lecture series. And we hope we'll work together for something for Africa. Thank you very much.
So thank you, Dr. Sant, for bringing out these important aspects. And we have in audience a lot of people who are working out these solutions. And as Dr. Sant also brought in, challenges can all be solved if all the stakeholders do not just point out at the challenges, but come together and solve these challenges. So we have one such gentleman called Abhay. He represents a company called AI Transmute. They have been working very well with rights, and they have developed a master application for international trade and regulatory interface Maitri for India, which is a virtual trade corridor, which is harmonizing all these standards and also facilitating trade. And it has got 5 layers, and they are operationalizing it country by country. So a big round of applause for all of these gentlemen. We have time for some questions, please. Yeah.
I was having this earlier international corridor. I may see, I was having very different opinion that why somebody should take material which can go by directly by sea, get it down, put it on train, again take it to sea. But after war, I think this was is a really one of the good idea that we need alternative. We need alternative, maybe in war or without war also, with some natural calamity and some situation which is there. And one more thing which I just wanted, INSTC corridor. Triple FI is one of the chairman. When this study was done, he was the person who took few containers, followed on that route, and showed the saving on time and cost, which is a good, really first time it was done. And I was very happy, and he's a good friend of Dr. Shishir also. So this study was done, and such initiatives are required, that whether are we really saving it. When you are going along with container, you come to know the really every smallest thing which needs to be taken care, and that study was done, and that is available in public domain also. So which I thought that I will mention. Yeah, please.
Thank you, Dr. Sant. Essentially, life is multimodal, you know. so let's have some multiple questions, some of these questions, and I think some bright people are looking to ask some questions.
In this multimodal which you are talking about, whether all goods are applicable to that. what are the limitations of the goods? Because some goods, it is brittle, you cannot many times transfer from one to another. And the second part is, most of your surveys which you are told are taken by the European research, some of the surveys, whether you have amended to the Indian conditions.
Okay, so the first question is that the lot of material, I mean, you can use multimodal based on, again, for each material, what you need to study is that how it is coming in which form, whether it is container, whether it is LCL, whether it is brittle, whether it has to have proper packing, whether it is worth. That's why one of the chart was showing which type of material, which mode is better. That chart was there. So again, we need not take anything that whether I should transfer only brittle material is possible or not. Everybody need to study each mode. When you do multimodal, you compare the cost of multimodal with a present mode. Let's say if you are using the road and now you want to use the road and rail, whether it is saving you time, whether it is saving you cost, whether you are in mode transfer, are you going to get some damages or not, you need to do that homework, then only this decision is taken. Today the challenge is that we do not have the costs easily so available, so this study becomes, and that's why the freight forwarders with their best knowledge, what they today do, even if the importer exporter is not telling please transport it this with this mode, they take the decision, okay, it can be taken, they are able to use multimodal. So we need to go item by item, category to category, who is the end customer, whether he is ready to wait, all that points are there. Secondly, as we mentioned, the multimodal, on multimodal there is no book available, it is all people learning with experience or the studies which are available on that. So in 30 minutes, what was relevant, I have mentioned that papers which are relevant with that. It need not be. I have not mentioned the classic case of this INSTC, which study was done, and we are able to prove that from here to the Russia, we are able to take the material. And today, if you look at, even though we have challenges with the trade with Russia or with Iran, the study shows that INSTC has reduction in cost by 40%, somewhere up to 56%, and time saving. And Russia is published that on this road. So there are Indian this thing. 40 minutes is the smallest time we are talking about the multimodal. That's what I can say that. And I'm quite sure there will be many more research paper. And what examples you mention, they never exist any paper on that really available. But we should do that.
Somebody else?
I'm Jagveer Rawat. My question is to Dr. Sant. You mentioned about 500 kilometer and above. So that can be applied to some commodities like paddy. Paddy is exported from, I belong to Kathal district from Haryana. So it continues to be leading district in the country for paddy rice exports, you can say. So question is, there is a convergence of scheme in agri districts. All the schemes are converged there.
Yeah.
So, and the Prime Minister in Niti Aayog meeting on 8th June, he said that gross value addition or GDP should be calculated at the district level. So these are the very conducive factors you mentioned. So can these kind of use cases be discovered? What is your opinion? Like you said, this obviously will be more than 500 kilometers.
Yeah. So definitely, I think as we mentioned that more and more cases, one is that the initiative comes, one is government is telling something to do. That is one very good thing. As I mentioned that even on the inland waterways, they are giving concessions, which is there. Yeah. So what happens is that there are three people. One, government gives scheme, but I am exporter. I don't want to take risk because somebody is waiting there. Something happen, damage happen, it is my loss. Customer says that it is late, it is my issue. So second is who is exporting, he need to be more stakeholder. And third thing is the logistic service provider like him, which will be really looking okay, we are ready to take help. So unless these three people work together, and if wherever they are able to do that, we are able to definitely have such cases. If you look at in between the cars which are made in Chennai, Hyundai, they are all transported by truck to the Gujarat or north. So they tried to put it coastal. They brought it to Mundra, and from there it was truck. So people are trying to do such projects. More projects comes and more such studies are published. I think it will be good. Success stories are always liked by people, and people follow that.
And ULIP is creating a lot of transparency, as he mentioned, and that platform will enable such movements. What has also been discovered and what was announced by the Honorable Finance Minister, the modal shift of cargo from 6% to 12% for the coastal cargo, that again is could be facilitated through ULIP when transparency will come, and also value-added services by freight forwarders would add to all this. So everyone has to come together. It's not that the government alone can do all these things on its own. It requires all the stakeholders to put their mind and come together. Yes. So yes.
Thank you, Chair. I'm Subodh, a research associate at Indian Council of World Affairs, and I look Nepal, Bhutan, and sub-regionalism in South Asia. As mentioned by Dr. Rajan, I think he was hinting on Kaladan multimodal project, which is underway and which will be benefiting the northeast Indian states, especially Manipur, Mizoram. And I was fortunately I was in Mizoram in February this year, and in a conference, and I see a lot of papers, research papers from PhD scholars from Manipur University presenting how beneficial this multimodal project would be for Manipur. However, we have reached Sairang through Sairang Railway, Manipur, Mizoram, and now Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram are also will be linked with the railway connectivity. But my question is regarding this multimodal integration process in the sub-region, the BBIN especially, when we see that in South Asia, Nepal and Bhutan and Afghanistan, but I'm talking about Nepal and Bhutan, landlocked countries, and after India, Bangladesh is the major trading partner of both these countries. And the trade between Bhutan and Bangladesh happens through this the Chukha district, Phunch, Choling and Jaigaon route, and then crossing Siliguri corridor. But recently, like last year, the Indian government allowed maritime route, the Indian inland waterway route through this Brahmaputra river, and also Bangladesh has provided this Chittagong port for Nepalese trading routes. But it's not possible unless and until we deal the security concerns which actually hampers which hamper this BBI and MBA project, especially Bhutan. In Bhutan's context, this environmental protection issue. For India and Bangladesh, we have different kind of issues. So what the government side thinks on the security issues, basically, how, because the speaker, Dr. Pramod, already mentioned the different technical and government level challenges, but security concern is a major concern which I see in this BBI region, which hampering multimodal integration. So what solution we have, or what solution countries like Nepal and Bhutan seek with India? Thank you.
Thank you. What I would suggest is, if you look at UN SCAP and look at Southwest Asia Delhi office, we have for the last 4 years, every year we are publishing one report on this. And we started basically looking into the dynamics of the same point which you said. Nepal and Bhutan are landlocked and they require a transit through India. And we found there are real challenges because from Bhutan, if they bring it through Phuntsiling or Nepal brings it through Raxaul, and If it is going to Bangladesh, only Petrapol, Benapol border is there where there is a choke point. So we have been providing an alternate points, and that is where we also have provided through a map which is the best alternative multimodal route. And right now, even from Dhubri in Assam, through the river, basically these rocks, the building, which basically requires for even for cement in Bangladesh, they go in barges from even Bhutan and India to Bangladesh. And we also looked at alternate routes. Like for Bhutan, we are suggesting that instead of taking all these routes, there is a shorter route. So they can go from there, take us Siliguri. From Siliguri, they go to Dauki, which is in India. And then it crosses Tamavil, which is a road. And then it goes to Bangladesh. So that is possible. The report also identifies now Bhutan is coming out with Gelefu and few points there. So Indian government has agreed to take the rail inside, and how this rail then convert into road and then under waterways, inland waterways, and it can be transshipment. We are also provided in that how Chittagong and other ports in Bangladesh could be used for transit for Bangladesh and for Nepal and Bhutan. So we have, and there are these studies. So if there is anybody who is interested, could look into. There are maps which we have drawn, and every year such kind of a study focusing on first Bangladesh, then Bhutan, then Nepal. So we have come out with that.
So this will be the last question.
Good evening, sir. First of all, a great thank you, for the wonderful presentation. And I agree with you. It is a multi-layered, multi-pronged problem. Right? It's not. It's a matrix problem. It's a matrix of problems, rather. I will say. Having said that, right. One more thing, towards the freight forwarders, based on my little research, that India's containerization of the overall trade, right, remains around 30-35%. Right. When you look at contrast it with the global average, that is around 60%. So in my mind, one way to expedite and is also to increase the rate of the container-based trade, right? Because then the transportation or the changing the mode is much seamless and easier and less time consuming, right? So that is one thing. I hope you would agree with that, but I'm more keen to hear your perspective. The second thing is as Dr. Shishir already mentioned about MAT3 or IMEC, in phase 1, it is more marine, but believe it or not, to Dr. Rajan's point, that we are going multimodal within MAT3, right? Maybe not within India, but outside India, we will be. So we will be integrating Etihad Rail, we will be integrating the roads and everything, and all data exchange, which Dr. Shishir was touching upon, ULIP, or you also mentioned, was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Hopefully will happen through MAT3 internationally. And then, and I think the recent announcement of LPMS, that should take learnings that how the data is being translated and made being interoperable without any intervention, through multimodality. But yes, as I said, there are many more in India, it is more compartmentalized. So you have to deal with those territorial issues, and that's why there is no central authority looking the entire trade mechanism.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What you mentioned is a very interesting point. I always look at and if you look at IT, our own powers or this thing, we have such a good talent which is there. Sometimes I find that, and that's why in my study I mentioned that ULIP could become a UPI for India. And I'm still hopeful on that yes, it will happen one day, and it is a dream, because as a user, or if you go to, we were lucky that we have all the IT tools being in big company, but look at the exporter who is in Nagpur or somewhere in Chhattisgarh, he has got no clue to search that. So this digital thing will make change, and as we see that it could happen suddenly, you will find something really changing with some tool, which is definitely using on a this thing we made a tool for Siemens where we are able to have everything under the sun for logistic and import export together. But we could do that because we were having volumes and we are able to dictate, if you want to do business, you need to give me this data. So sometimes the compulsion that people need to put this data into tool, whether it is Maitri or ULIP, is made mandatory. Then you can see a transformation in very short period. And it should happen. I mean, and that's why one more my statement was that we have a chance to have something very new technology. When we are changing telecom, we are changing into warehousing, we will change that into the logistic also. We will go to directly to next step, whereas some countries will continue to have old system.
Quick reflection. When we say that ULIP should become UPI, right? So there is a great concern with respect to the data security.
Data security.
Right. The challenge is, imagine your cargo moves out of the port and anybody can see it, right? So who all should see it, like identifying the right stakeholder. Otherwise, it can be like looted very easily, right? And so you know their truck's position, you know everything through ULIP. So and that is where the question becomes the more of a chicken and egg problem. That how do you control, because that will require lot more. Many of the freight forwarders or the traders, they may not be as tech friendly. So
Yeah.
how to have those guardrails is another consideration that government keeps on pondering, that if I do, I should not open another Pandora box.
What you say is exactly the point, because today I look at example, the customs data. IceGate is not giving my data to me, but I can buy it from somebody easily, and that servers are abroad. I have to pay and I can get anybody's in India's import export data with items, details, price, quantity, everything. So data security is there. And when you look at the two freight forwarders who are their competitor also, unless they have a trust that this system portal will give only my data to me and it will not be misused, I think that we have to, that is the most concern. Between importers it is same, between freight forwarder also it is there, that somebody will just look at data, he is giving this service to this fellow, I will quote 100 rupees less and he will take the business. So data security is problem not only in logistics, it is everywhere. But here we need to take that decision, and that's why when we talk about the port community system or something, issue comes, who should have that port community system? Can we give it to, why government only should do, or I give it to somebody else and he do it? That is the biggest challenges, and we have to cross that bridge one day.
So I think it's time now is to thank everyone, especially the chair and this lead speaker for today, and big round of applause for them.
Thank you.
I also want to thank our learned audience. Some of the questions he is asking, he has to solve it himself. So thank you very much for staying with us all this while.
And that is the advantage, that I know that some of the questions he can solve now. I come to know that.
And I also thank the team from Dakshin and CMEC who have made this event possible. Thank you very much. A very traditional way, we'll state, I request Dr. Ratna to kindly felicitate our lead speaker.
Thank you.
Yeah. BFS. Thank you. Excellent.
Thank you. I mean, as we see that we know now this report, and we can definitely, as a triple FI,
Study of that.